We're looking at a rumor worth $300 billion that could completely rewrite the AI landscape. If you think the battle for AI dominance is just about ChatGPT, you need to hear what their biggest rival, Anthropic, is planning right now. Anthropic, the creators of Claude AI chatbot coding tools, are actively preparing to go IPO or raise an historic amount of private cash. They are reportedly discussing a valuation of over $300 billion, a number that would instantly make them one of the most valuable companies on earth. This is news because it signals that the AI wars are moving from research labs to the stock market, and Anthropic is building a war chest to take down OpenAI. What do you think about this, John?
I think this is great. So I'm not surprised. Anthropic isn't as valuable as OpenAI, but I think we talked about it in a previous episode that Anthropic is closer to a positive net revenue than OpenAI. But then if they go IPO, then yeah, there we go. So Anthropic's private valuation, it surged as it secures new capital. So Microsoft and Nvidia have committed up to $15 billion in a funding round that could value them north of $300 billion. And so this kind of sits against a backdrop where OpenAI is also preparing its own IPO and possibly at a valuation near $1 trillion. So Anthropic's move, it kind of reflects broader trends in AI financing. So heavy capital injections, large revenue projections, and intense competition among generative AI firms. And that's to define leadership beyond product metrics into public markets perception. So the potential Anthropic IPO, it's being watched. And it's not just as a milestone for one company, but kind of as a litmus test for whether public markets will still back high burn AI companies with massive valuations. So up until now, investors have been willing to pay top dollar in private rounds. So a public listing is going to show whether that confidence holds when share prices are exposed to daily trading, which is really interesting. So I guess my question is, who's going to go first? Who's going to IPO first? Is it going to be Anthropic, which I think, or is it going to be OpenAI?
Well, I don't think it'll be OpenAI. No. And I only say that because they still have some cleaning up to do versus their, hey, we're a not-for-profit. Oh, hey, now we're for-profit. They still have to finish cleaning that up on the investment side and who gets what, and before they can fully do an IPO. Otherwise, I think they're still in a legal mess. So that I think needs to be cleaned up before they, and that's probably, a year and a half, 2 years away.
Yeah. Oh, you think it's a year and a half, 2 years away?
I think so.
Okay.
Just it's stuff that needs to be done. Like they're getting sued by everybody left, right, and center who made investments early on when it was a not-for-profit.
Yeah.
So they have to figure that out. That's all I'm saying before they jump to an IPO.
So do you think that it's beneficial to Anthropic to be first, or do you think it's going to be detrimental? We're getting into some deep thought here.
I think it'll be beneficial for them to be first because the reason is the public is itching to invest in some of these companies. And, let's face it, Claude is the number one tool used for developers. So almost anybody out there developing with AI would be jumping on this. Never mind everyone else, just because they know the value of it. I know people have the Ultra accounts and they have a bunch of them. They spend thousands of dollars a month with running this model because it does so many amazing things. So I think that they've got a built-in public market, and that, I honestly don't believe that they'll have enough supply to meet the demand.
Okay.
I think the IPO will sell out in short time is all I'm saying.
Oh, I think so too. But back to their high burn. So although there is positivity around the fact that they're the first to be net positive potentially.
Oh, absolutely. These companies like they basically bring in trucks load of cash, put it in the middle of the floor, and burn it like the Joker in a scene from the Batman. And that's how fast they're burning through cash. So, however, that's more of the things that investors look at, because I say, the bigger investors, a lot of retail investors that once you start IPO and this stuff becomes available for, they're just looking at how popular it is. A lot of them are low information, and they just think, everyone thinks Uber's making money or OpenAI is making a bunch of money. They're still losing billions every month, right? So, so at some point that conversation has to switch. And when they stop getting investment, they're going to be in trouble. So all of them are like that right now, because at some point, they're all fighting for the same market share, and it's a big enough market. And now's the time. Like, let's face it. The government is making multi-billion-dollar deals with OpenAI because they're a leader. Anthropic wants to get in on that pie among everything else, right? Why can't they build part of Project Stargate? And we're going to be talking about that a little bit later versus just being, OpenAI. So I think in order to challenge the big boys, they have to do something like this to get a little more on the mainstream map. But I think the crowd that's itching for a major AI investment in the public market space that's well known, they will benefit from this, because if they're the first ones.
For sure. I'm not going to lie. I might do a little bit of day trading the day it goes IPO, because Anthropic is my favorite. But the thing I like about this is that an IPO essentially requires detailed public filings. So it's going to shine a light on AI economics, from annualized revenue run rate to R&D expense trends. So for AI startups where compute costs can dwarf gross margins, these filings, they could essentially redefine investor expectations for the industry. And I'm curious to see what their financials look like.
Yeah, I'm curious. We'll have to see what that looks like. But this gas injection ensures Anthropic can afford the $50 billion infrastructure they need to keep competing with Google and Microsoft and OpenAI. So, they need the cash injections to start building these huge data centers they're going to be doing. Yeah. So we're just going to have to see where that goes, because the valuation above 300 billion. Sources familiar told Financial Times that the prospective private round could value Anthropic at more than 300 billion, which would represent more than a 10 times increase from previous valuations. So it'll be a big win for a lot of early investors.
Yeah.
And the report indicated a combined commitment from Microsoft and Nvidia of 15 billion.
Yeah. Yeah. Nvidia is the one who's actually making money off of this right now. And so are all the hardware providers for all of the data centers and stuff like that. So I'm curious to see what is going to happen. Maybe it's a strategy. And again, I'm not a trader at all, but I'm just spitballing. But maybe it's a strategy to invest in some of those hardware stocks, or right before these guys go IPO, maybe those will go up too.
Yeah, this feels a lot like the early days of Google or Facebook going public. Anthropic is preparing to sell shares of the company to the public for massive investors to raise huge amounts of cash. But it's always a risk, right? I think when Facebook IPO'd, they IPO'd at like 70, but at the end of the day, they were worth 35 or something like that. It was definitely down. It took a while to get back up. I'm not saying it's not worth the investment. I'm just saying on IPO day, lots of strange things happen, and we don't give out investment advice here. This may be worth it for you or may not be. But it does feel like early days of these companies going public, and we all feel like, man, we wish we could have got in early on that. How early is the right time? What's the right value? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Critics are screaming the bubble. A 300 billion valuation for a company this young is unprecedented. If the AI bubble bursts, or if government regulations crack down on AI safety, a core focus of Anthropic, that could evaporate. So we'll have to wait and see. But at the same time, this could give them the thing they need to get to the next level and really take a run at the big boys.
Yeah.
So Anthropic is gearing up to prove that the AI revolution is just getting started, and they have the bank account to prove it. So is a 300 billion price tag a sign of the future, or the peak of an AI bubble or something else? Let us know if you'd buy stock in the comments below. What do you got going on, John? This is the stuff that's going out in the next week or so.
Yeah, so we've got some events at the Toronto Business Development Center. I'm doing some lunch and learns in person there. It's a great organization, great incubator. And then February, what date is the Startup Drinks, Craig?
I closed that, so I'm not sure. February 19th, I believe.
February 19th, but have a look at startupdrinks.com. startupdrinksto.com for that event and other events. Yeah, if you need some help with government funding, SHRED, or any other grants, reach out to me on LinkedIn. But if you're interested in AI automation workflows or you need help with your business, what can they do, Craig?
Well, we've got lots of stuff going on over at flowgrammer.ca where we help businesses implement AI and business automation so they can scale faster and more reliable, get more leads, grow faster. We also have a growing community over at flowgrammers.ca where we do Flowgrammer Cafe, we do live build events, we do demo events, we get the community together online and in person several times a month to show and demo and support anybody who's trying to do this, learn automation, end-to-end AI agent building. So check all that out. We have a series of events called Flowgrammer Cafe. The next one's February 6th, March 6th, and April 2nd. We do those right now in partnership with Workhouse, and those are full day drop-in headphones, laptop, and work. And we'll have some experts on site that can help you troubleshoot. And we all kind of do a little walkthrough in the afternoon about what you're working on and, show us what you're working on and stuff. And it's really cool. So check all that out over at flowgrammer.ca and flowgrammers.ca, and coming soon. And you can sign up for this now, flowgramming.space. An AI agent and workflow marketplace where people can buy and sell agents or workflows. So if you're building agents and don't know what to do with them, where to sell them, go over there and check that out. Again, flowgramming.space. Or if you're building workflows, or if you want agents or workflows built, you can go over there and buy them. We have some interesting guarantees, and it's coming soon, so you can get your name on the waiting list right now. That's all we got going on, John. For everything else, go to torontostarts.com. I don't even think I mentioned it that whole time. Thanks everyone for watching. All the information about CES, and these interesting things. Any last words, John?
No. Check out our next episode. We're going to be talking about the weird stuff at CES. So,
all right, everyone. Thanks for watching.